Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Andrew with All Things Fantasy, and today I'm bringing you a draft strategy video. Now that I finished my draft guide series, I'm gonna bring you this draft strategy video, and then my next video will be my mock draft video. And so in today's video, we're gonna just kind of break down the strategy that I like to use when going into a draft, and I kind of broke it down into some simple tips for you guys. All right, so my first set of tips is just kind of breaking down the draft. So there's 16 rounds in a fantasy football draft, and now depending on if you're in an 8-team, 10-team, or 12-team league, obviously more players are going to go in a 12-team league, less players are going to go in an 8-team league. So it might be a little bit more selective in an 8-team league, and in a 12-team league, there might be like you'll be going deeper into player. Like, you'll have to dig deeper and draft a lot of players that maybe you don't know a ton about, or maybe who you don't think are gonna really play as that much. But you need to you're really gonna test your fantasy football knowledge in a bigger league. But yeah, so there's 16 rounds, and so the first 6 rounds, when I say fill, so my second tip is fill your starting running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends first, which is 6 positions, because I'm including the flex in that, because obviously you want to play running back or wide receiver in your flex. So you want to fill those 6 slots first, and so that means you can't draft your QB in the first 6 rounds. And I know that's going to be hard for some people, especially when you see like Tom Brady and all these top quarterbacks. I actually think the top quarterbacks in this draft, because, or at least ESPN ranks Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson first, because Tom Brady obviously has the suspension. So it's gonna be kind of tempting when you see Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson up there, not to draft him and hold off. But trust me, it's the right move. It's it's the right move to do, and you just need to be disciplined and wait. So once you fill your starters, then you can draft your QB. So obviously in the 7th or maybe even the 8th round, if there's nobody good that's like really close to the best available, maybe you see still there's a really good running back or wide receiver out there, and you want to wait even further to draft QB, then you can wait till the 8th. That's fine, but I think usually the 7th is usually a time when you can still get a pretty good QB, and that's what I recommend is 7th, 8th round for your QB, and then after your QB, you still need your starting defense, your starting kicker, and then you have 7 bench slots available. So my recommendation is fill up about half your bench, like 3 or 4 slots of your bench, before going after a defense. But basically you're playing it by year. Like if you draft if you fill out 2 bench slots, and then in the 8th and 9th round, and then people start drafting defenses, then you want to jump on defenses. And then you want to jump on defense and get a defense that you ranked really high, and you thought it was a really good defense, and they're in the top of your list, right? And then obviously you continue to fill your bench, and then jump on a kicker. Like pretty much when you see fit, right? Like if people aren't drafting kickers, and there's still these pretty good wide receivers and running backs available to fill your bench, then keep drafting, then draft one of those guys, and you don't want to be a guy who drafts a kicker or defense way too early, and then while everybody's still drafting running backs and receivers, and you kind of lose out, right? You want to maximize like the amount of potential on your team, right? You want to have the best draft possible, and that's by waiting as long as you can to draft a defense and a kicker, while still getting a very good defense and a very good kicker. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is like the basic guideline you want to follow. First 6 rounds, starting running backs, starting wide receivers, and your starting tight end. 7th, 8th round, that's when you want to snag a QB. your ninth, 10th round, you start filling up your bench, and then somewhere between like your 11th to 13th, depending on what people in your league do. That's when you want to try to snag a defense, and then in the 14th, 15th, 16th is when you want to snag your kicker, and obviously continue to fill your bench. So yeah, I hope. So that's like my basic guideline as far as the strategy goes, and I hope all those tips and all this made sense. And then I got a couple more tips on this page. So basically, what you want to remember when drafting is you want to be conscious of how many running backs and wide receivers you have. You've already drafted, right? So you don't want to, especially in the beginning rounds. Like if you drafted um, two running backs right out the gate, and then like you're in third or fourth round, and like some of the best available are running backs, right? You don't want to draft a running back then, even though some people might think it's the best, it's the best option and it's the best decision. It's not. You already have two starting running backs. You need a starting wide receiver. You need to go down the list and get the best receiver that you think is available. So that's definitely something to look at. Yeah, and don't draft two tight ends, in the first 6 rounds. That's a big no-no. I'm not fully against drafting two tight ends. That is something you can do. Like if you want to draft tight end really, really late. But I mean, honestly, like obviously you're gonna have to face the tight end bye week, and at that point, there should be a tight end that is having an unexpected season that you can pick up off of off of free agency for that week. So that really shouldn't be a huge problem. But I'm also for drafting a backup QB in the later rounds. You're like when you're filling your bench, right? In the 10 to 16 rounds, you know, I'm all for drafting a QB that you like that was kind of maybe like a sleeper QB. Um, I'm all for drafting a QB in the later rounds, and then and having and running two QBs. That's definitely something I would be okay with doing. And so that's my first tip. And then my second tip is avoid drafting too many players on the same team. And this is a very big one. Even though it might seem like a good idea to stack your team with a bunch of guys in the Steelers because they have a lot of great talent, or like guys in the Cardinals because they have a lot of great talent, you gotta avoid it. Because the bye weeks, because bye weeks will screw you over, and those weeks will just be losses for your team because you're gonna have too many players, too many of your good players who are on a bye week, and you're gonna have to put in a lot of bad players, or pick up guys off free agency and put them in, and they're not gonna give you a lot of points, and you're gonna lose because of that. So it's something to keep in mind. And you really need to avoid that. And then the next question people are gonna say what's too many players? I would say over three, and even three is pushing it. I wouldn't go any more than two on the same team. Yeah, and I'd say two is the max. I'd honestly say three is probably too much. Yeah, I'd say two on the same team, and obviously in a perfect world, your whole starting lineup is different players is different teams, but I mean sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But yeah, I'd say try to max it at two. And that's same for your starters. Obviously with bench players and players who aren't as good and aren't going to be playing every week, sure they can be. That doesn't really matter if they're on the same team. That's fine. That's I should make that more clear. Yes, so that's strictly for starters. And then my third tip is to remember is take advantage in the late rounds. A lot of guys, once they get past round 10, whatever, they'll kind of just some people will just leave their draft and auto draft the last couple rounds, and some people they don't really care who they get because they kind of lose interest because they're these are the scrub players left, and they're not really interested in taking the time to draft, and they just kind of leave and let the computer auto draft for them, and they just get a defense and a kicker and leave. Don't be one of those people. Late rounds are crucial, and you want to try to take advantage and and steal some players in the late rounds that people aren't looking at, and like I said, and that's a great opportunity to steal a sleeper QB that people aren't looking at, right? Also, there's a lot of players that ESPN has ranked low that are going to get a shot that that probably deserve to be drafted a little bit higher, and guys like that are, in my opinion, Arian Foster seemed to be ranked really low. Now that he just signed a deal with Miami, I definitely think he's a guy who's ranked really low. You can kind of get him before who you kind of get at a really decent value. Like so you can kind of get later than maybe you should have. Also, D'Angelo Williams. Now that the whole LaVon Bell thing, he could be suspended for 4 games. We don't know though for sure, but it's a very big possibility. I mean, all right. So the thing is, like, if you draft him, I wouldn't draft him in the first 6 rounds because he's not a starter. He's a backup, and but I mean, like, it's very questionable. I definitely think if you want to risk him in the 8th or 9th round, go for it if he's still available. But he's just an interesting pick. Yeah, and that's another thing that LaVon Bell is now moved down a couple ranks. And before he was like, him and Antonio Brown like were 1 and 2, and they were the best 2 in the draft. And now not anymore. People, Todd Gurley and some other guys have jumped in front of LaVon Bell, Adrian Peterson, and some other wide receivers too. Like, so he's like currently like not even the best in the draft, and or not like not that high in the draft anymore. I mean, he's still high. He's like, I think, the 7th or something, or 6th, but he has moved down a little bit. It's just something to note. Do I think he's still worth a first round pick? I mean, yeah, obviously he is. 4 weeks isn't, it's still a lot. It's a lot, but it's recoverable, and if you manage your team the right way, you can get by with the first 4 weeks, and then when he comes back, he should be the LaVon Bell we all know. And then my 4th tip is stick to your game plan. And that's kind of just repeating my idea of not giving in the temptation to draft the QB in the first 6 rounds, and being disciplined with the strategy that I've given you. Like, and it probably sounds easier than it is, but it probably sounds really easy, but a lot of people will get in there and then they just kind of will get away from their game plan. Their adrenaline's take over or whatever, and they won't be thinking right, and they'll make mistakes, and that's not what you want to do. You want to have a game plan out, stick to it, and don't do anything that and just don't be stupid, and have something written out, right, have your lists, have a strategy, know have a game plan of when you want to draft players, who you're looking at, and who you want to get, and because doing that will help you not get sidetracked, than if you're just kind of going at it blind, and also eliminate distractions, right? That'll help you stick to your game plan. Is eliminate distractions, don't have to be talking to people, don't be doing it around a bunch of people, and so that nobody, because they'll distract you, and drafts go by really fast, and if you're in a conversation with somebody in the room, and you can miss your pick, and it could auto draft for you, and it could be somebody you didn't want, or it could be could really ruin your draft. So that is my last tip, and it's a definitely important one. Stick to your game plan. So that is all I got on that slide. I think that was really all I wanted to talk about in this video. Like I said, my next video will be I'm gonna do some mock drafts, and kind of talk you through those. But yeah, so you kind of see here LaVon Bell 6th. It tells you about the suspension. And this is just for running backs. My bad. And then so these guys have obviously like I was talking about, Elliott is not, in my opinion, above him. And actually, Elliott just got there's a domestic violence that just happened today. But apparently everybody's saying that it's false. So I don't think Ezekiel will miss any weeks. But if you go to all, yeah, okay, well, they have him all the way at 12. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, so he's 6th running back. He's 12th overall now. I mean, wow, that's incredible. So yeah, that's just kind of a little update on the rankings there for you. But yeah, expect the mock draft videos coming soon. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope this helps. If you have any other questions about my draft strategy, feel free to comment below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.